Shane, how did you find Carnivore?
I found Carnivore while I was watching a YouTube channel from the YouTube channel called What I've Learned. Um, and they were talking about the carnivore diet itself and why it would work. That was literally the title of that particular show, and I found it interesting. It was curious, piqued my interest. Um, And what really caught my interest was when they described the story of fat on the same channel, What I've Learned. And I remember that one made me incredibly angry because, of course, the entire time I've been trying to do the whole eat less, move more situation. Didn't work. And I thought there's something wrong with me. And then when I stumbled across those videos, it changed everything about how I look at diets.
Right. So, was that anger in a way that you were just like, okay, I'm starting Carnivore now, or
Almost. I ended up getting more information on it. It wasn't until I started watching some of Ken Berry's videos. Um, there was one video I tried to look for it today. I couldn't find it, but in the title it said "Keep Your Wallet," and and I remember watching the video, and it looked so simple. It looked so easy. There's no counting carbs. There's no um, all you got to do is eat meat, and it was like, well, I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that, and I'm not paying anybody to do it. So let's give it a shot.
so when was that?
I would say that would have been in 2019-ish.
So, have you been Carnivore since that point?
No, I'm sad to say I wasn't. I was solid carnivore when I started it for a good year and 3/4, and it changed my life. Um, and then I ended up seeing a video that another YouTuber had done, and they were talking about the keto and alcohol. Um, and she was very good at talking about it. Her name was Amy Berger. She's a very good researcher, I think, in the field of Alzheimer's. The last I heard, I haven't been following her, so I don't know what she's doing these days. But I've rewatched the video recently. She put forth a very fair argument that alcohol is not a health food and it's not a good idea. But I took the wrong message from that video. I decided, I haven't had alcohol in a while. I might as well go ahead and give it a shot. Um, and it was shocking how readily my mind was hijacked, um, not only by the alcohol itself, but also it it broke down all my inhibitions of around carbs and stuff. And I fully fell back into the garbage craze at that point. Yeah, it was unfortunate.
So, I mean, since that time, have you picked it back up again, or?
Yes, I have. I've come off of it and on it a few times since then. I did eventually, after about 6 months, get back onto it, and I got back most of the weight, or I lost again most of the weight that I had put on. Um, and I did break again after that a couple of more times. And I believe that the reason why I was breaking is because I was going through stress at work that was causing me to lose sleep. And the lack of sleep, I think, is what triggered me to lapse back into carbs. And I remember that I worked in one of the big pharmacies here in Toronto, and they had energy drinks. And I was going to work so tired, and I thought, okay, I'll look at this energy drink. I was like, I'll just have one energy drink just to get me through the day. But it every single time it triggered me to go on the garbage rush again.
And so, what's your status now?
So right now I am full carnivore, as for about roughly, I'm going to say almost a full 3 months now. Solid carnivore, not a single plant. The only deviation was a bit of cheese, which I've discovered I can't really do cheese anymore either. Um, but yeah, I'm back to feeling like my old self again, and the weight is coming off.
Right. So, over time, so you did it for almost 2 years initially,
Yep.
and then you've been on and off, and then 3 months in this last period. So, you must have seen some positive benefits the
Yeah.
very first time you did it, and each time to keep going back. So, what has improved for you?
Oh my goodness. The improvements were extraordinary. The obvious one was the weight loss. I mean, I dropped weight. Uh, I'm not going to say fast, but it was pretty steady throughout the year and a half, and I dropped to a weight I never thought I'd see again. Um, on top of all that, I was also like before I started carnivore, when I would be walking down the street or working at my job, I would suddenly get a sharp pain in my knee that would cause me to like fall back a bit. And I can remember one day working at my job and both knees went at the same time. And I was very close to full on collapsing to the floor. And I ended up having to buy myself a cane. And also, even before that, I did suffer a meniscus tear at one point, and not quite a meniscus tear, some kind of a shift in my other knee. So I've had problems with my knees up until I started carnivore. But now, like, those are non-issues anymore. I mean, I feel occasionally maybe a slight twinge in the knee, but it doesn't scare me to hang on to anything. I just keep walking down the stairs. Um, and not just knees, like my wrists, my hands, the joint pains are gone. Oh yeah, I already mentioned I dropped weight. Like I was when I before I started carnivore, I was around 360, 360 pounds, depressed, painful knees, just eating every chance I could. During that time, I would also be drinking a truckload of milk. Here in Canada, we have 4 liter bags of milk with 3 internal bags, and I could drink an entire 4 liter in a day without blinking. Um, I totally removed that. Uh, yeah, depression's gone. I don't take depression medication anymore. I remember when I first started carnivore, it was a very hard first 5 days. In fact, I remember on the fifth day, I thought I was going to have to leave work because I was in such bad shape. But then on the sixth day, seventh and eighth day, it was half as bad. And then I remember on the 10th day, I remember this very clearly. On the 10th day, everything was done. It was over. The depression, the wild depression. What I know now that what happened was I had recovered from the sugar addiction. The sugar addiction was over, and I crossed that border. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, everything's back to normal. I'm fine again. Um, when I say normal, I mean pre keto normal. But I found that when I had to do a task, if it required me to bend over to grab something or lift up a heavy object, the energy was just there. I didn't have to psych myself up to do it. It was just the energy was just there to grab it and do whatever it was I had to do. Um, and over the period of the year and a half or 3 quarters, as I said, my energy just kept going up and up and up. And uh, like getting on my bicycle was no longer painful. I used to have to, hang on to a nearby pole before getting on my bike because it would hurt to swing my leg over. That's done. I can almost jump on my bike now, although I'm not going to do that. But I can almost do that. It was unbelievable how much uh, it was. I keep saying this to myself. It was a new paradigm of life where, in order to understand what I'm talking about, like I can remember pre carnivore thinking along the lines of, eh, I don't mind if I die early. If I die early, I don't mind if I die early. I don't mind if, I mean, this is a hard life, and clearly I'm not fitting in right. Um, it's okay, it's not a big deal. Now, no, 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 no. I want to live, and I want to live my best. because I was in that state of mind before, I understand what a lot of people are going through when they're like, "That's not that big of a deal. Don't worry about it." But it is. When I say your whole paradigm changes, your whole, like my whole mindset completely changed about life in general. It was literally a lifesaver for me.
Yeah. Um, and that's awesome. So at this stage, you're on no medications?
No medication at all. I take some supplements. I do take potassium, magnesium citrate, just for the because I do get muscle cramps, um, and I think I might be eating too much chicken, which might be triggering the muscle cramps. I'm experimenting with that right now. But when I first started carnivore, the muscle cramps were really bad, so I ended up taking the electrolytes, potassium, magnesium citrate. At one point, I was doing the raw uh, uh, element stuff, and there was another one called keto chow. They just have good old fashioned drops that you put into your drinks, and those were helping me out marvelously. But that's all for medications.
Right. So when you said you were 360 pounds, that was before you started in 2019?
Yes.
Okay. So in that year and 3 quarters, like, what did your weight get to?
Ah. So I fell between 238 and 242 pounds. I wasn't able
Wow,
to get
so more than
lower than that.
100 pounds.
Yeah, yeah. There is some story behind that. I started keto in 2019. I think I was actually down to about 320 at that point because I did know I was putting on too much weight before that, and I thought, okay, well maybe I should try going on some sort of a diet. So I started choosing a whole foods diet, or at least what I thought was whole foods. From that point of view, it was, I would eat an apple a day, my red delicious apples. I even ate a lot of bananas. I didn't know at the time that bananas are an absolute horrible thing for this because it's full of sugar, but I didn't know that. Um, I did go to a dietitian as advised by my doctor, and she introduced me to this cereal that apparently has it has sucralose in it, which the dietitian described it to me as being a sugar without sugar, which I now know is I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it's another artificial sweetener, which wasn't doing me any favors in the end. Um, but yeah, so it'd be fairer to say that carnivore got me from 320 all the way down to the 240 mark.
Right. And so what happened when you had that period where you stopped carnivore, you kind of went back on, off, and that kind of thing? What happened to your weight during that period?
Oh, off and on. Um, I can feel myself swelling out. Like I can feel when I wash my hands, I can start feeling the fat on my bones slowly start to increase. It takes time, of course. It's not an overnight thing, but um, like every time, like I could feel the fat coming onto my body. It's harder to bend over. I feel bloated much more. During those carb times, constipation returned. Um, uh, and oh my gosh, cravings just like giving into the cravings is the worst thing I can do because like the alcohol, the sugar just hijacks my mind. It just takes over my mind. And it's like I can remember days walking into a donut shop to buy a coffee and specifically wanting to just buy a coffee, but looking at the pastries and thinking, what harm could this one time do? Knowing full well this is a bad idea. And yet I do it anyway. Um, it's unbelievable the internal fight that goes on for that. Sugar addiction is absolutely real.
Yeah. So, as we talk today, what is your weight right now?
That is a good question. I have not weighed myself. My scale is broken. If I had to guess, I'm probably around 270-ish, but it is a guess. I don't really know.
And how tall are you?
6 foot.
Right. And so what does a day of eating look like for you?
Okay. The ideal day is typically I don't eat until nighttime, and it will be maybe a couple of strip loin steaks, as fatty as I can get them. Um, if I'm lucky, I'll get myself like a nice big either rib steak or a T-bone steak. They're very expensive, so I can't afford them all the time, unfortunately. Um, I mentioned earlier that I've been eating a lot of chicken. I'm trying to cut chicken away from my diet, but chicken, if I do eat chicken, it would likely be either three chicken leg quarters or about eight chicken thighs, which is basically half a chicken leg quarter. Um, uh, yeah, and I drink a truckload of coffee, which I'm also trying to cut back on. But I'll drink a full pot first thing in the morning, two at home, and then one to take with me. Oh, sorry, not pot. Two cups to drink at home, and then take a cup with me, and then maybe I'll buy one while I'm out. And then I still drink coffee when I'm at home at night, but it's decaf at that point.
And so but that's just one meal a day.
Yes, that is true. Ideally, one meal a day when I'm working. If I'm not working, it might be two meals. It's usually 2 meals a day. I usually relax.
And so when it is 2 meals a day, is that like lunch and dinner?
Yeah, never breakfast.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. So this at this point, it's been 3 months for this time. Do you feel like um, there's no going back now? Like you've come off it enough times to know that it's not going to work for me if I do.
Okay, I'm glad you asked that. I've learned not to say never again because I realize that it's too easy of a slope for me to slip down. That said, like every single time I learn more and more about why I should never do that. I would like to say I'm never going to do it again. Um, but I think I'm just going to settle with right now I've learned my lesson and I hope I don't touch it again. I just hope I don't go back to the carbs again because it's sad. It's really sad.
Yeah. So based on the experience you've had over these number of years, if someone was starting carnivore, what would you tell them to do?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Uh, okay. So electrolytes are absolutely fundamental. I'm I think I'm prone to muscle knots, Charlie horses. So I don't know if I'm worse than other people or not, but I know I hear a lot of people talk about the muscle knots. So electrolytes, and don't bother with the what do you call it? Those there's you can get drinks with electrolytes in them from the store. I forget what they're called off the top of my head. Gatorade or something like that. Don't bother with those. They got sugar in them. Stay clear of those. I would recommend if you can afford it, get the raw element, boxes of element, and one per drink is all you need. That'll keep the muscle knots at bay. Uh, I did not have a support group when I did this, but if you can get in touch with a support group that supports carnivore diet, I would highly recommend doing that. I'm actually just now starting to try and reach out to a couple of groups. Um, because that like it's a hard journey. You're going to need the support, the mental and emotional support for sure. Uh, and advice that I got from Ken Berry, Dr. Dick Ken Berry, get rid of all the carbs in your house. Lose them. Just throw them out. Um, and last but absolutely not least, stay absolutely clear of those seed oils and the vegetable oils. Good Lord, they're poison. Don't touch them, right? Even if you choose not to do the carnivore diet, just avoid seed oils at all costs. Just get away from them.
Yeah, that's good advice. That's very good
Yeah,
advice. Um, so Shane, if people want to reach out to you, is there a way to get in contact? Do you have any social media or any other way of reaching out?
that's a great question. I technically have a YouTube channel, but all that's on there right now is just a music list that I like. Um, it would be Shane Gallant 9018. But I do have a Facebook page. On the Facebook page, if you go to my actual page, you'll see a Millennium Falcon chasing a bus that I borrowed off somebody on the internet. That's like the background, and my avatar is a red Les Paul style guitar. It's actually a Samick guitar, but it's like a cherry burst guitar, and you'll know you got me if you see that symbol or that avatar on Facebook.
No worries. I'll link to your YouTube and your Facebook in the show notes.
Sweet, thank
Shane,
you.
thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. And sir, thank you for everything you're doing. You are doing such important work in this space. And every time I see you, I'm always liking your videos. You've never not gotten a like from me.